So yesterday we passed our electrical inspection. It went quite well. He did a slight look around and then he asked questions. Let's see if I can remember what they were. Do I have a designated circuit for the bathrooms? Yes, I do. Do I have 2 designated circuits for the kitchen countertops? I have 3. Do I have a designated circuit for the microwave? Yes, I do. Do I have a designated circuit for the dishwasher and garbage disposal? I don't have a garbage disposal because I'm on septic, but yes, I do for the dishwasher. Do I have a designated circuit for the bathrooms? Yes, I do. Do I have a designated circuit for the laundry? Yes, I do. We discussed the 14 gauge wire for the lighting. We discussed the 12 gauge wire for the outlets and other things. We discussed a 15 amp size breaker on the lighting circuits or the 14 gauge circuits and a 20 amp breaker on the 12 gauge circuits. We discussed having an outlet in the front and the back of the house. Yes, we do. We actually have 4 exterior outlets. We discussed having lights outside of each door. Yes, we do. We discussed the deck off of the balcony. Does it have its own outlet? Yes, it does. I think that's all the questions he asked, and then he walked around and inspected all the wiring, which we are going to do. So we'll start with the kitchen. This is where I was standing. The butler's pantry, which is this area right here, which is just basically an addendum to the kitchen. I have 3 outlets on the wall. 1, 2, 3. Oh, also designated for the refrigerator. That guy right there. Probably should have it higher. I'll check that out later. So this box here is a 2-gang because it is going to also have the fan, which is on a timer. See if I can swing up without making anybody dizzy. Ooh. But right there in the butler's pantry, we have an exhaust fan that'll be on the timer for the whole house. By the way, each one of these outlets in the butler's pantry is on its own designated circuit for the kitchen. The reason I did that was because this is where we're gonna have the Instapots, the air fryers, the toasters, and all those kind of items that are gonna be probably going at the same time. We have 2 Instapots. We'll probably use them both at the same time because we frequently do. And just seemed like where I needed to beef things up. And then I split those 3 and I'll show you where they went. One of them comes over here. You can see there's an outlet there, and gosh, you can't even see the outlet here, it's buried. And those 2 outlets go on what we call the coffee bar. We have a sink down here to be a little bar sink, and there will be a hot water maker and everything there on the coffee bar. The other one comes over and it hits these outlets right here that are on the countertop. And the third one actually goes down underneath. Let's see if we can show it. Here on the floor I have in spray paint drawn out what I have, but I have an island right here and I have a peninsula right here. So the 3rd circuit actually serves the peninsula and the island, and that breaks up my kitchen. These guys over here will hardly have any use because we don't plan on cluttering up our countertops with the items. We plan on everything being in the butler's pantry. One thing he did do was he pulled out my boxes. I don't know if you can see, but the green wire is connected to the ground screw in the box. He wanted to make sure that every metal box had a grounding screw, which every metal box here does have a grounding screw. Now, I made my boxes deep enough that they all anchored to the concrete. You can see here, here's the ground. I've got incoming, ground to the box, and then my pigtail, which sticks out here for the outlet. I make all my boxes up as I go. I know it's more time consuming to just one at a time, but since I'm not a real electrician, I have to be very methodical. So this one we're looking at right here is actually for the television. You can see down here is the box that's in the cabinet. I drop down through the floor and there will be an outlet in the middle of the den. I will get into how I did the ICF wall outlets, but basically the metal boxes are all stuck to the concrete with an anchor. I just drilled a 1/4-inch hole and mounted the boxes right to the concrete, and then I used different size mud rings according to how it went so that the mud rings would flush out with where I need them to be. Most of them are 1/2 inch. Sometimes I needed a 5/8, and on a couple of them I needed a 3/4. I'm kind of going slow here because someday I may want to know where a wire's running, and I'll go back and consult this video and we will see where the wires run. But all my wires are stapled within, I've seen 12 inches, I've seen 8 inches, but you know, I went with 8 or less. So I have 2 sizes of the blue Carlon boxes. The one we're looking at right here handles 3 12-2 with ground and a receptacle. And I use those wherever I had like the home run comes in, and then the 2 runs go different directions. This is actually for the laundry room. And then I have the regular Carlon. These, I believe, are the 18 cubic inch Carlons. You can tell that the space back here is less. And they'll handle 2 12-2 wires and a device. Let's swing around here, and from the front I can probably read what that other one is. It is 20.3. And so the 20.3s will handle 3 12-2s and a device. You can see here I have my dryer. Box is mounted kind of high because there is a shelf going in here, so there's the vent for the dryer. Everything will be raised up a little bit. I had to just kind of squeeze the box for the washing machine right in here, but I wanted it to be high enough so that I could unplug it and plug it without too much trouble. Kind of ran my my wires in behind for the ICF walls. This is the toilet room. I have a 2 gang where I'm going to put the light and the fan, so they'll be switched separately. And then this is an outlet which is on its own circuit. Well, not this box, but the bathroom circuits. So this will be a 20 amp or on a 20 amp, and this will be on a 15 amp. You can tell white wires here, yellow wires here. That's the toilet room. Oh, hope everybody's not getting vertigo. We'll come on around. We have a double vanity. So we have an outlet box and a light box. You can see here the white for the light and the yellow for the vanity, or for the... So by each bathroom sink, I have an outlet and a switch. The switch is for the light. Now what I did to kind of save wire a little bit was I ran my power into the light box, and then I ran a 14.3 down to the switch. That way there is a neutral in the box for the switch. Now that neutral won't be used with what I have going on, but I guess some of the smart homes and that kind of stuff do require a neutral to hook the device up. So now you're supposed to have a neutral on the lighting circuit in a switch box. Where back in the day, we used to just run a black and a white down and call it good and use it as a switch leg. So I use 12.3 down to my boxes. You can see I have one on the other side here. I'm going a little slow because someday I may want to review this video and see exactly how all the wires are run. Master bedroom, we have the walk-in closet, light switch here, and I used we'll swing on up, a blue Carlon box because this closet's too close to the wall to put a ceiling fan, so it cannot be a ceiling fan outlet. Same with this one over here. Cannot be a ceiling fan outlet. So get away with that. The other boxes are all ceiling fan approved. One thing he did check was switches within 48 inches of the door. My switches, you can see this one here, I kind of had to carve it in. It was a bit of a drag, but that switch definitely within 48 inches of the door. Here next to the dining room door, I actually have a double switch. One's going to power the dining room light, which I'll slowly go up. And there is a ceiling fan approved box hanging above the kitchen table for a dining room light. And the other switch, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but that is a 12 2 with ground, goes outside, and there's going to be an outlet up top, and we're going to be able to string, we call them party lights, string lights, whatever, and they will go out into the backyard. It's going to be pretty cool when that's all done. The switch right here does the outside light and the peninsula lights, which will be pendant lights, which hang down. Now this box here, down on the floor, with all the 14 gauge wire running into it. This basically is where I have power that comes in that feeds my smoke detectors. Now from this wire, box, excuse me, I have a 14.3 that runs up all the way up here for a smoky way up there, and a 14.3 that's goes over and jumps down through the floor and does the smoke detectors down below. We'll have a television here. You can see I have this will be like a ledger board right here. Transition from the thicker ICF wall to the thinner 2x6 wall. The conduit you see is just to run a HDMI cord up there so that you don't see any wires sticking between the TV and the where the devices go. See, we have a light right here. Ceiling fan approved, but this is simply going to be on a 3-way switch. One switch will be right here, and the other switch will be, let's look down there on the stairway. That way, when you walk up the stairs, you hit the switch, get up here, you can turn it off. And you can see over there, all my wires go out to where my breaker box is going to be. Any questions? Leave the questions. I love questions. I try to answer every single comment. But we're going to go ahead and call this a win. Oh, one other thing I wanted to point out. Here's what I did all my routering with. 1/2-inch bit set so it doesn't hit the concrete. Made all those beautiful little I guess they're runs, traces, whatever, for the wire in the styrofoam. I liked it because I have the plastic ties, and this bit just went right through the plastic ties. And one other thing I guess I will cover here. When I put the, used that router and I ran through here, these little blocks of wood you see stuck in, they're 2 inches by whatever. Just took and ripped a piece with 2-inch, and then chopped it up on the chop saw. But they're pounded in, and then they got the wire all captured back at 2 inches, and then I went and just hit some spray foam in there, and that has that wire trapped in there solid. Where I had to go down through behind the rim joist, I made a bigger hole and stuck the blocks in there. I'll probably give that a squirt of foam again to fill it up. I don't know that I necessarily need to, but that's what those little wooden blocks are. I wanted to show you a cool little thing I discovered, a job we went to today. The client had covered all of his boxes with these things. They're a Bradley Construction blank. BCB is the name here. And these little buttons just pop in where the screws go. And now your outlet is protected from the router of the drywaller, the painting, texturing, taping, everything. When you get done, pop it off and you have a perfectly good, very safe, clean box. I think they're pretty darn cool. My wife is ordering 100 of them so that we can cover every box in the house with them. Don't know if this appeals to anybody, but having gone behind the taper and having boxes full of mud and texture and everything else, could be a huge time saver when it comes time to trim out.